Hello, I'm Matthew Malcolm with American Vineyard Magazine, reporting to you here today with Doug Benik. He's a Fresno County table grape grower, but he also is a crop insurance provider through Benik and Associates. We've had a recent devastating storm that has, been a result of the hurricane that came in, and the effects came and hit hard even in the Central Valley of California, which is table grape central, right? Not just for the state, but for the nation.
Correct.
And so we've had a significant amount of crop that has been damaged as a result. It's really that time where a lot of the crop is, being harvested. It's coming to maturity, and that's what we're hearing is the most vulnerable stage for cracking, bunch rot.
Internal bunch rot.
So tell me, from your perspective as a table grape grower, that's probably been impacted as well, but also as a crop insurance provider, I'm sure that your phone's been ringing off the hook with people, making claims. Tell us about it.
Phones and texts. Yes, it's been very busy. Myself as a grower, of course, put it on hold harvest for a while, see what's happening. We had the rain at the most inopportune time during harvest and just before harvest. And it's a varietal thing. Some varieties were hit very hard. Some varieties, it remains to be seen how hard they're going to be hit because we never had this kind of experience before at harvest with some of these other varieties. Not so much a problem of the rain, what happened on Sunday, steady all day, depending. Certain counties got much more. In the south, we got more rain. But the weather afterwards was very humid, and it still is. And that doesn't give the bunches a chance to dry. And the growers have been carefully, monitoring the cultural practices to minimize the damage. But there is damage, and just starting to get back in the field now. Everyone is after the days of waiting after the storm. So there's different estimates as to how much we'll lose, but it's quite a bit. And before these rains hit, well, for my own business myself, I probably had 80% of my growers open with claims for damage from the heat. The heat, when the berries were still hard, that happened in June, toward the end of June, first part of July. That was the most devastating heat spell because the berries hadn't experienced veraison. They were still hard berries, not softening. That's because our season is about 2.5 weeks late due to the cold weather we had in, March, April, February. So we started out behind, and the heat and then the rain, put us behind. We should have had more boxes harvested by now, but because of the late season, not as many were harvested, and that's why the impact is going to be greater as far as how many boxes we're actually losing due to the rain.
So, we had a pretty good crop estimate for the season. It sounds like that estimate's going to go considerably down. I think from talking to some other growers as well, once the rain hits and the berries crack, it leaves them, prone to, getting fruit flies, getting mold, leading to bunch rot, and at the cost of labor, right? It's just not affordable to go through and pick through, trim off the damaged berries. So a lot of those grapes are just not going to get harvested, right? And they're filing their claims, right, with insurance brokers like yourself. And what percentage do you think we're potentially, from what you're hearing, we might potentially lose as a result this year?
Percentage of the total volume of boxes I've heard stories of this is from brokers and growers that I've checked with and that I've talked to that have called me, somewhere between 20 and 40%. Where exactly? It depends because the damage is there. Will the grower try to save it? Sure, but with the increased cost of labor, I've talked to growers, it could be as high as $12 to $14 to pick. You have all the boxes and materials on top of that. The grower knows after picking them one morning, can figure out it's not worth it. Then you call the crop insurance company, and the crop we can pay. It's obviously a covered cause of loss. The crop will be appraised to see what's left out there, what's possible to pick. Number ones is what's covered. If it's not a number one box of grapes, the crop insurance will pay on that. Now, when supply is down, the price goes up. It just depends. Hopefully, because the supply is down, we'll see an increase in prices. Um, Export versus domestic, we'll have to see. Um, we may have a limit of a little less export grapes this year, but some of these varieties are damaged more than others. So it's a varietal thing. If you have sunburn damage and now on top of that you've got bunch rot, a grower cannot afford to have a worker clipping 10, 15 times on a bunch just to be able to put it in a box. That won't work. That's where crop insurance takes over and pays the loss. Of course, most growers, all of us, we want to pick a crop. We want to keep the workers busy. We want to make money. Everybody makes money. That's the way it's supposed to work. But with the rain like this at this time, and it's not so much the rain, it's the humidity afterwards. We've got a lot of humidity. And if it would just dry out, we could see what we got. That's what's putting it on hold right now. So, that affects other crops too, not just table grapes. It affects tomatoes, almonds. It affects everything. But I think table grapes are by far the most dollars lost due to this rain.
Well, thank you. And I was just on a table grape vineyard just the other day, and usually when a storm is approaching, hopefully they got some time to prepare to put that plastic film over the top of it to protect the canopy, right, to cover over the canopy. But this storm just, it came quick, and we didn't realize soon enough that it was going to impact the Central Valley, and there just wasn't time. And those that did have it on, they got to quickly take it off because of the excess humidity that was going to come from it. So it's just a really tough situation. So, I mean, our hearts and our prayers go out to those growers that have been impacted. We really appreciate, having, companies like yourself that provide crop insurance options for the growers. Okay, to read more about these things in American Vineyard Magazine, I'm Matthew Malcolm, CaliforniaAgNet.com.